Hello, 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 my Tangy babies. How are you? It has been a while. It's been a full week since I last saw you guys. I got distracted with life. I met a man. No details. But yeah. So I kind of not forgot about you guys, but I kind of got wrapped up in the world. And I did make a video last week, so don't get me wrong. I did make a video, but I'm out in my garden and my audio sounds like I'm all the way from right here. So you cannot hear a word that I'm saying. So I'm trying to figure out how can I eliminate the audio off of that and just do like a voiceover over what I was saying. But that's a different day when I become more tech savvy. Um, but I do want to talk about Philly. So, as most as you know, because most of my audience is from Philly, born and raised in Philly, West Philly till I die. Anyway, um, Philly's going through a financial crisis where basically SEPTA is not going on strike, but they are losing their funding. Basically, Republicans who live on the other side of Pennsylvania are trying to say, well, this doesn't really affect the whole entire state. Philly transportation is not really our problem. We should just get rid of it because it's not making any money. First things first, SEPTA is a public service. Excuse me, is a public service, so therefore it's not really meant to generate money or make money. It's kind of like when you call the 911 dispatch, or when you call the police officers, or when you call firefighters. They're not really supposed to be making buku money. Okay, do the police stations get a lot of funding? Yes, because it's a needed public service. Same things for the hospitals. The hospitals, they get funding from donors or from the state, or however they get their money. They get their money some kind of way because it's supposed to be a public service. That's the reason why you have, public schools. They're funded by the community. When you pay your taxes, you're paying for those schools. Let me turn this light away because I feel like, yeah, that's better. Trying to get this lighting right. Okay. Um, yeah, you're not supposed to make buku money off of SEPTA. You're supposed to be making some kind of money to pay the people. But other than that, I'm just trying to adjust this light, y'all. I promise. Yeah, that's better. You're not supposed to be making a whole bunch of money, but it's supposed to be something. It's like, but I feel like when you look at every other part of Pennsylvania, so outside of Philly, Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh is a little bit ways away from us. Um, the surrounding counties of Philly, so like where St. Joe's is, so like Bryn Mawr area, or Montgomery County, or where KOP is, Radnor, Villanova, those kind of surrounding areas, they make a lot of money. They have a lot of money because SEPTA drives out there. Wherever SEPTA can reach, that's where people from Philly typically work at because they can get there. When you cut that kind of funding, one, people jobs are on the line. People jobs, companies are now trying to figure out how can they make this work because now there's going to be a curfew, like a 9 p.m. curfew. How are people supposed to get to work? Nobody knows. How are you supposed to get to work? How are you supposed to be able to work your job? Let's say, for example, you work at a hospital. Let's say you work a 3 to 11. That's always been your shift for years. It's a shift that you like. That's a shift that you prefer. How are you going to be able to work that job and then get home if the bus and the trains and everything else stop at 11 o'clock? I mean, they stop at 9 o'clock. Also, keep in mind they're eliminating certain routes altogether. I know my pinky. Let's cry for the pinky. Uh, um, you're eliminating certain bus routes altogether. Like the 31 is on the chopping board, completely eliminated, which I think is crazy because the 31 quite literally gets you from 15th and Market, or 15th Street, or JFK, whatever people want to call it, all the way to City Avenue, 75th in Brookhaven, like 77th, or like really, really far into like deep into West Philly. It goes the whole entire right of the route from 15th all the way to like 75th. I remember when I was younger, my grandma always told me, if you ever find yourself lost, you don't know where you are, look for the 31 bus. That bus will get you home no matter what. And I remember one time I was lost, or I didn't know where the fuck I was going, and I only had like one token. I walked I walked to 15th and Market because I was like, no matter where I end up, I'm gonna end up at 15th and Market, and this one token is gonna carry me home. And sure enough, it got me home. Anytime I ever got lost in the city, I always said, if I can find the 31 bus, I'm good. I know where I'm going. I just need to find the 31 bus. Always look for the 31 bus, and you'll be fine. Like, you'll never have to worry about that. You'll be good. I feel like nowadays they're just like, there's so many bus routes that are so like valuable to the city, and they're just eliminating them, like the G or the 63. I hear that they're shortening that. The 124, 125, that takes you from 13th Street all the way to KOP, and they're eliminating that altogether. So now I'm concerned about people who work on KOP. How are you gonna get to work? Now keep in mind, let's say if you live around like Wissahickon or Maniac, a lot of times people will get to like, to the Wissahickon trains, to the Wissahickon bus stop, and that's how they figure out like how to get to their job on KOP. They're getting rid of that. So how are you gonna get to work? What are people gonna do? Now I catch the bus, but my bus route is not affected. I catch the 65 to get to where I have to go. My bus route's not being affected, so I'm good. And also, I can catch like the 52 to get to where I need to go, so I'm good. And then on top of that, my kid's dad, he drives, so my kids will always be able to get to school, no problem. But the people who have kids and their kids are teenagers, teenagers can travel on their own basically in the city. Who's going to be driving their teenager to school every day to make sure that they go to school? Not to be that person. Don't fight me because I know how y'all like to tussle. But these parents don't want to be parents. They don't want to have to take their kids to school and have to worry about that. They barely want to be parents 95% of the time. And now you're asking them to take their kids to school. Teenagers are more than capable of doing so, but you're eliminating majority of the buses, and I think a lot of them are like downtown stuff. You're eliminating that for what? And I don't even think the city really thought about when basketball, not basketball, football season is starting up. Whenever there's a game in Philly, everybody and their mama want to go and see the game at the Wells Fargo Center. How are people going to get there? Let's say if it's a late night game. Let's say the game starts at what, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever time games start and end. Uh, and the game is over at like 9 o'clock. How are people going to get back home? You think people are going to drive to Wells Fargo and pay not only pay for parking, but also deal with that traffic? That traffic is horrible. Unless you leave 20 minutes early before it gets really bad, you're pretty much going to be stuck in traffic for at least a good 30 minutes to an hour. And the fact that the city did not take any of that into account is honestly crazy to me, because it's like, let's just be so freaking for real right now. You have sports seasons that are starting up. That's like your bread and butter basically. There's tourism in the city. That's the people using SEPTA as the way how people get around whenever they want to tour the city. Why would they ever want to tour the city? That is beyond me. But once again, I'm a native. I'm always not going to understand why people come here to tour. But people come here to tour and to see things, and you're not having a SEPTA or any form of transportation to help them get to point A to point B. It's kind of like if New York just said no more subways. What do you mean no more subways, no more trains? How are people going to get around New York? Have you ever seen New York traffic? For one, it's mad congested. Mad congested. You can't go nowhere. No one's not going to pay for cabs every 2 seconds. No one's not going to get Ubers every 2 seconds. No one wants to catch the bus. No one wants to do all those things. To get rid of SEPTA altogether, or even to try to shorten it or uh, cut certain lines, is going to hurt the city. It's going to stab the city where it hurts the most. And I don't think that the people who live in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre and Allentown and all these other places that no one even thinks about when they think about Pennsylvania is thinking about, how is this going to affect Pennsylvania as a whole? Because keep in mind, Philadelphia is the county that basically is one of the counties that keeps the whole entire state of Pennsylvania afloat. Without Philly taxes, the whole entire state of Pennsylvania pretty much goes downhill. If you take away Philadelphia, Montgomery County, Villanova, KOP, and Pittsburgh, if you eliminate those counties altogether, Pennsylvania will go down very fast. It will go down because it will be of the likes of Mississippi, Alabama, New Orleans, those very poor red states. Yeah, Pennsylvania would be a very poor purple state. Can't say red because we flip all the time. It would be devastating altogether. So the fact that they're trying to gut the state, it almost seems like they're trying to set everybody up for failure. They're trying to do something, and I don't know what they're trying to do. I'm usually not a conspiracy theorist, but I am sometimes. I don't see the point of cutting one of the ways that helps the city run and function, which thus helps the state run and function. It really makes no sense. If we're paying taxes for you guys to keep these things up, why are you now taking it away from us? SEPTA always raises its prices every couple of years. Like, the price is now going to go from 250 to 290. Just make it $3. why leave that odd 10 cents there? Just make it $3 and we can just call it a day. Um, it doesn't make any sense to me to do all those things. It's like it's really pointless in my eyes if you really think about it. And it's like I don't think they really see it as that. I think they see it as, oh well, this is going to benefit the whole entire state. Because now we don't have to pay for Philadelphians to get around. We quite literally keep the lights on. What are you talking about right now? And I don't really see people talking about. And when I say people, I mean the transplants. So people who are not really from Philly, but they decided they lived in like Detroit or like Indiana, and they decided they wanted a big fancy dream, and they decided to move to Philly because they couldn't afford New York or LA or Miami. Um, yes, I'm throwing all the shade. Um, they couldn't afford like the real big city dream, so they decided to move to Philly and have like their mini big city dream. They don't really care about it because a lot of them drive. So why would they have to care about what the city is doing if they're just going to be driving everywhere? You know what I mean? Um, I don't understand the point of them cutting anything. And obviously transplants are not going to care because once again, a lot of them drive. They don't drive into the city like downtown area, but. mm, Not to be that person, but downtown is not what it used to be. I remember when I was younger, I used to always try to like hang out with my friends, but I would want to hang out downtown. Downtown, we used to have the gallery. Rest in peace to the gallery. They call it the fashion district now. It don't hit the same. It don't hit the same. There used to be a real big H&M down there that they is no longer where it used to be. So where you're thinking it used to be on 15th and Sampson, it's not there anymore. It's somewhere else. I think it's in the fashion district. But it's still the fact of the matter is like, damn, that was like a big deal for it to be right there. Um, like they don't like there's none of the luxury stores are down there, which I don't blame them because they were getting robbed a lot. But we had the fashion district because the fashion district was supposed to have all of those stores in there, but then COVID happened and they all lost their contracts because everybody thought this was like the beginning of the end of the world. So of course no one is gonna build a store there if they don't think they're gonna make any money. But downtown is just not what it used to be. It's not fun. There's nothing to really do down there. There it's boring. It's really boring. I remember when I was younger, I used to always want to go downtown, just hang out with friends. We would go out to eat. Eat if we all had $20. We would go to the gallery, get some cheap food, walk around, maybe buy a shirt or something like that. Buy Auntie Anne's little pretzel. Just be downtown, just to be downtown. Just to say on Monday when we went to school, yeah, I was downtown with my friends. What would you do? Just walk around. I would go down Chinatown when I was younger. I love Chinatown. I still love Chinatown. Love Chinatown. Used to walk around there, get your fortune done. Talk to the tattoo parlor guys. Ask them how much would it be. Since I lived on my own since I was like 17, 16, I would be like, well, I'm legally emancipated, so I don't need my parents to sign off. And they'd be like, you are absolutely right. You don't need your parents. Um, it was going downtown was fun, and now it's just not. And now I feel like with them cutting SEPTA, they're just making it worse because when tourists come, how do they expect for tourists to go, like to get around? Because whenever SEPTA goes on strike, whenever they do their infamous every 2 to 3 year, we're going on the strike, people just be out of jobs for a while. People just be like, "Well, I can't get to work because I live in Northeast, but my job's all the way down in South Philly. I can't get to work." And mind you, a lot of companies they're very understanding, they're accommodating. They'll try to say, "Well, let's carpool." Or let's, you order your Uber, we reimburse you. They try to find ways to get creative to get people to come to work. But I don't think if SEPTA I think that if SEPTA really does like if they're really not able to get the funding, I don't know how companies are going to do it. I know I have a friend who works at Penn and he has a car and they asked him like, "Oh, would you be willing to carpool?" And he said no. And they asked him, "Well, how come? Why not?" And he said, "Well, I had to take my kids to school. So that's that. I know I'm moving you slowly. Don't be scared." Um, he's like, "One, I had to take my kids to school, so that's one. So I'm already pushing the clock there." And then he's like, "And if I pick up these other people, am I going to be excused every day for being late for 30 minutes to an hour? Like, will that time be paid? Because technically I'm picking up coworkers." And they kind of like looked at him like, exactly. Like, and if I'm not gonna get paid for picking up coworkers to get them to work so that way they can be at work on time or kinda on time, then I'm not gonna use my gas up and take my car all over Philly just to get a couple of coworkers. Like they're gonna have to figure it out. I told some people like they should invest in bikes There's electrical bikes, there's electrical scooters you can get. But it's so weird because I just found out today because I was looking it up because I gotta go to school in Temple. I gotta go to school at Temple. And I was like, oh, maybe I should get like an electrical scooter because the Broad Street line will be kind of delayed. And apparently they're illegal. Apparently they are illegal in Pennsylvania, particularly in Philly, because they're deemed as motorcycles. And they're deemed as motorcycles because of the engine that's inside of it. And because it can move really fast, they consider it to be a motorcycle. So it's actually illegal to have in Philly. And because you have to register it, because technically it is a car. And excuse me, ooh, I dropped you. Um, yeah, it's technically considered to be a motorcycle, and you can't have it in Philly unless you get it registered. So I'm definitely gonna look into that because, mm, I mean, even though my classes don't start till 10 o'clock, so I do have some time. I'm still gonna look into it just because I've always wanted one. But it's interesting to know that they're actually illegal. I did not think that they were illegal, so that's really weird and suspicious if you ask me. But but yeah, that was really interesting to know. But yeah, like ride bikes, carpool, meet your coworker somewhere to make it easier. Like you gotta get creative somehow. I really don't know. Maybe this will probably motivate a lot of people to finally get their license. I'm not one of those people. I'm not. But yeah, who knows? It could probably motivate someone to finally get their license. Not me though. Not me. Um, Probably carpool, meet your coworker somewhere, get a bicycle. Your glutes will be amazing by summer if you do that. Probably can lose some weight too. So think about that. There is a bunch of things that you can do, but I know like in this economy, money is tight for everybody. Even if you got it like that, money is tight for everybody. I don't care who you are, what you say. Money is tight for everybody. So I can see why on a long term scale is not realistic and not believable. But once again, I just think this is just ways for Republicans to try to get their revenge out on blue states because Trump did say like, oh, he's gonna get his revenge on blue states, and Pennsylvania, we're a swing state, even though we swung red this time, allegedly. He's still trying to get his revenge out on us. And I think it's because our governor is technically a blue governor, and the Republicans are really just trying to screw everybody any way that they can. There's no reason why you're punishing one of the counties that quite literally helps out the state the most for no apparent fucking reason. Our funding, from my understanding, has never been like in question of if they should cut it or anything. So it's very weird that now all of a sudden you want to cut the funding when like literally the whole city depends on SEPTA. Mind you, these are people jobs. Some people have worked for SEPTA for 25 plus years. They plan to retire working for SEPTA, and SEPTA is like one of the last jobs in the city that actually has pensions. So like pensions, like a retirement fund. They're like one of the last ones that have that. Not many other jobs do. So I find it really weird that they're attacking SEPTA all of a sudden. It seems like all of a sudden to me. It could have been something that they've been secretly whispering about for decades now, but it's the first time like I'm truly hearing about it because now I'm an adult and I actually care about what's going on in the city. But yeah, I find it really weird, and I hope before they do anything they really think about it because I'm not saying SEPTA is perfect because it's not perfect. Like I would definitely say within the past 10 years, SEPTA has gone downhill really, really bad. When I say 10 years, let me push it to 2016. The reason why I say 2016 in particular is because I remember I was living in Frankfurt with my ex and my one baby and my mom. And I remember they announced that they were going to have like arenas. This is how they described it, like areas to where people who are addicted to drugs could go and shoot up, and there would be health professionals there were like Narcan to like kind of like get them back. And I remember talking to my ex. I remember saying that's going to have a lot of people in a really messed up situation, and that's going to make this city's drug problem even worse. We moved away for a little bit in 2017. We came back 2018, and it seemed like SEPTA was doing okay. Like SEPTA was still fine. But I want to say when 2019, 2020 hit, something happened with the drug and alcohol program, and I hate to like put that out there because it puts like a stigma on those people. Quick sidebar: if you know anybody that is struggling with a drug addiction or alcohol, it's gonna be like a little link right. It's gonna be like a little thing right here that will tell you where to go to try to get them some help as much as possible because it is an addiction and it is a disease that needs to be fixed. So we should try to do our part and fix the disease and try to cure it. But yeah, like around 2019, 2020, I started to notice that the homeless population on the buses and especially the trains was starting to like slowly ramp up. You would find needles on the train stations and in the Broad Street line. A couple of years ago, there was a story, and I'm gonna put it like right here. There was a story about a young lady who was sexually assaulted at 69th Street on a train, and allegedly it was from like 69th Street all the way to Frankfurt, and nobody stopped, and no one stopped her, and like no one stopped the guy from assaulting her. And mind you, we have SEPTA police. SEPTA police are supposed to be on those trains all the time. They're supposed to be on their car. Those they're supposed to be on each cart. They're supposed to be stepping in and stepping out and like seeing things and hearing things to make sure like things like that don't happen. But they unfortunately they do happen. I know our mayor, I hate that lady. She's gonna try to lie and say, "Oh, crime is down on SEPTA trains and all this." No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if it was, the Republicans would not be trying to come in after it. That's also another reason why the Republicans are going after it. They're saying that it's unsafe. It's not. It's a place to where criminals can go and do their crime and not be interrupted. And they're not too far off because there are people that go on the trains. Like I remember when I had to catch the train to the Northeast CCP campus, I saw people shoot up. I saw people smoke. I saw people deal drugs on the train. I saw all of that. And I can see why they say that because once again, the SEPTA police, let me just reaffirm, the SEPTA police are not doing their part. They're supposed to be protecting the people and making sure shit like that does not happen. Now I know the police can't be everywhere at all times, but if your job is supposed to be a SEPTA police officer, you should be able you should be doing your job and you should be stepping in on times like that. There's no reason why little kids are watching people shoot up. There's no reason why little kids are watching homeless people just sit on the trains and basically be asleep on the trains. There's no reason for that to be happening. Philadelphia, from my understanding, is the top out of the top 10 cities in US. I believe we're ranked as number 6. I'll have the real facts right here. I believe we're like the number 6 biggest city in America, and there's no reason on why we have the homeless level that we do. We have the resources to not have this issue. There's no reason why there are people doing drugs on the train stations. We have the resources to make sure they don't have to do that. We have the resources to make sure that they get the help. Now, granted, I know that not everybody wants to be helped and they have to want to be helped. I totally get that. I totally do. But eventually, as a society, as a city, we have to start saying like we have to protect the children. Kids should not. Kids shouldn't be. Shouldn't have to see this. And I know people say like, "Oh, well, that's their business. They're grown." Blah blah blah. Yes, that is true. But there are children that do catch the train, and they should not have to see that. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to see a child watch somebody shoot up, and the mom is trying to cover the baby's eyes. That's freaking ridiculous. Like, which is why once again, stuff the police should be there to say, "Yo, dude, there's kids around. Get off the train, bud." Granted, are they going to say it like that? Absolutely not. But we can pretend. We can pretend that they would. Um, but yeah, I just feel like as a whole, SEPTA needs like a whole rewiring, like a whole fix. And it really does start at the very tippy top. So like the senators, the representatives, like our governor, we need like actual help as for like our public transportation because it doesn't just help Philly. It helps our surrounding counties. It helps it helps out Jersey because we have trains that go out to Trenton. We have trains that go out to Delaware. We have trains and buses that go everywhere. So it does. It's not just going to affect Philly. Is Philly going to feel it the hardest? Yes, because people use it every day. Go to the hospital, go to work, go to school, visit family, travel, do whatever. People use SEPTA all of the time, and to get rid of SEPTA is going to gut the city. Other surrounding counties will feel it, and they'll feel it a little bit, but they're not going to feel it as hard as Philly. And I don't think people are thinking that far because they're just thinking, well, people could just, get a car. Not everybody wants to drive or can drive. So, yeah, that's not a realistic thing. You have grandparents, really elderly people that depend on something to get home or to get to their doctor's appointments or get to where they got to get to. You got to think big. Like, when you gotta think big, bitch. Think big. You're thinking too small right now. You gotta think bigger than the program. You know what I mean? And people aren't. And I'm gonna try to keep this under 26 minutes, and I'm at 24:52. At the end of the day, cutting SEPTA is going to gut the city in the worst ways. It's not going to help anybody. People will lose jobs. Hospitals will lose businesses. They won't lose business because the hospital's always needed, but nobody wants to pay for an ambulance every time. Anyway, uh, hospitals are going to struggle. Schools are going to see a lot of truancy because a lot of kids are not going to have any ways to get to school. Jobs are going to lose a lot of good employees because people are not going to know how to get to work. There's going to be a lot of evictions because people are going to be behind on rent because they can't have a job that they can't just walk to. It's going to be a struggle in the city for the next upcoming few months. So it's going to be very interesting to see how, as a collective, we deal with it. And, let's stay tuned. With that being said, my name is Nicolo. Don't forget, I am a public relations and journalist student. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends and tell a friend and tell a friend about me. Tell a friend and tell a friend to watch my YouTube channel. I will greatly appreciate that. With that being said, until next time.